Guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Hi, my name is Rosie, and thank you so much for taking a moment out of your busy day to spend a few moments with me. So in today's video, we are going to be continuing on with our 8x8 Christmas mini album, and in this video we are going to be working on creating the pages. So if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, so for this album, I'm going to be doing 6 signatures. So what you're going to need are 6 pieces of cardstock that are 7.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch on the 8.5 inch side on both ends. So again, on the 8.5 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 8. So we need 6 of those, and then we're also going to need 6 pieces that are 7.5 by 7.5. The dimensions for the page themselves, when it's all said and done, is going to be 7.5 by 7.5. So let's go ahead and just fold our creases. I've already placed, as you can see, my double-sided tape, and I'm going to go ahead and release just a little bit of the tape on one end only so that I can place my 7.5 by 7.5 right on top, just like this. Just like that. And I'm going to just line it up as best as possible. Okay, now let's go ahead and work on the other side. So again, I'm just going to release just a little bit. And I'm going to fold over this part here just so that it lands right on top. And then we can just peel back our paper. Isn't that the easiest way of doing that? I find it so easy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do this process to all 6 of our pages. So what you end up with is something that looks like this. Okay, so what I have in front of you is kind of how I tend to do things. I tend to use a lot of elements, and I'm so used to making them that I'll just make up a bunch of different elements and then see from page to page how I want to do it. So I've gone ahead and I've pre-done an awful lot of elements. Let's go ahead and see now where we're going to place certain ones, and I'll give you dimensions before we get started. Okay, so I have my 6 pages that we put together, and I'm just going to take one at a time and start to do this. I always suggest doing this part, adding your elements before you do any decorating with scrapbook paper, just so that you don't see that hinge. And I use a 1/2 inch hinge on all of my elements. So let's see, this is the first page, and I'm just going to be mindful with each page the orientation. So I know that my page is going to go into this way, so my openings always have to be on the left and right hand side, if that makes sense. So let's see, how about if we do a couple of side flips? Okay, so for our side flaps, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 4.5 by 7.5, and on the 4.5 inch side, we want to score at 1/2 inch on both, and then we'll just add our double-sided tape to both. And I am going to go ahead and just angle cut those ends. Okay, so we've angle cut on each side, and let's go ahead and remove just a little bit of the paper. And again, just double checking where the opening is. I want it to be on the left and right hand side, so down and then get the rest off. Okay, let's open it up. And Make sure it's down straight, and now we'll do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So let's remove a little bit of the paper. Okay, and there are our side flaps. Let's just make sure it's down really well. Okay, so our opening, pick it up here. So our opening again is left and right hand side. So now we have our flaps. Let's go on to the opposite page, and I'm just gonna lay this down. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so now the opposite side, again, always remember to keep an eye where your opening is. It's got to be on these sides, just so you know for orientation purposes. Let's see, what can we do? How about if we do a center flap? I think that will look nice. Okay, so for this, what you need is a piece that is 5 by 8. Let me just double check. Yep, 5 by 8, and on the 8-inch side, we're gonna score at a 1/2 inch. And again, we're just going to miter our corners a little bit, and then bring up the paper backing. Let's see there. Okay, I'm just gonna try and get this as centered as possible. If it's not completely straight, it's not the end of the world. Okay, and then just make sure this comes down. It's really pressed down well. Okay. So there is our first page. So we have flaps going this way. Turn the page. We have another flap here. Okay, let's go on to page 2. All right, so for this page, I'm just going to do a standard pocket. So you need a piece that is 8.5 by 3, and you're going to score at a 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So let's do that. I've already added my adhesive, and I've pre-done this just so that my my videos aren't extremely long. So now you can see that we've gone ahead, we've mitered each corner and angle cut the tops. So I'm going to go ahead and release a little bit from the bottom and attach my side. Release just a little bit, and then fold over the side just like that, just so that I get my pocket looking the way that I do. And I'm just gonna double check, and that's a good fit. So let's go ahead, I'm double checking my orientation, and let's go ahead and remove our paper backing from our tape. Oops, I'm not even in frame. Okay, so let's do right like that. I'm just going to start with my corner first and then just lay it down. All right, let's get rid of our garbage and move on to the next part. Okay, so for the next page, this would be page 4. I'm going to do a belly band. So let me see here before I go and put it down. Let's just make sure that I've got all my measurements right. Okay, because a lot of times when I'm doing these elements, it's off the top of my head, and I kind of know like what the dimensions would be. But, you know, I could be off, and I could be distracted by something I'm watching on TV or something. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so for the belly band, what you need is a piece that's 8.5 by 5. I'm just double checking. 8.5 by 5. And on the 8.5 inch side, we're going to score at a 1/2 inch and 8. So essentially a 1/2 inch on either side. Okay, and just like other times, I'm going to release just a little bit until I know I have it pretty centered. Now, if you didn't want a belly band that was sideways like this, you could do one that is like this as well on the side instead of this way. It's whatever you want. All right. Okay. and just release the rest. Get rid of my little post-it. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and just place this down like that. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to remove all of it. And then I'm just going to hold it. And then I just like to do this, kind of slide so you get a nice, perfect fit. Okay. So there's our page 3 and our belly band for page 4. Let's work on page 5. Okay, so for page 5, just looking at my opening, let's do this one here. So for this, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 5.5 by 7.5. Let me just double check. 5.5 by 7.5. And on the 5.5 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. So let's just angle cut our corners. Okay, so let's go ahead and fold. Okay, so opening and, well, now I'm just looking. Maybe I'll do it this way. Should I do it this way or this way? You know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do top and bottom, because on another page we did the side ones. So why don't we do top and bottom? All right, so I'm going to release just a little bit of the paper backing. Okay, so there is one. Now let's do the other side. Okay, so there is our next page. So now we have our flips going up and down instead. Side opening, just confirming. Let's move on to page 6. So for this one, I'm going to leave this one blank for now. I do want some blank pages without elements just to give me more space to do some other things. So I'm going to leave this page blank. Okay, now we're down to the last few pages. So I've just kind of lined up which ones I think I want to use on which page. So let me get these out of the way. I'm going to do those and I will do these. All right, so let's see here. Opening left and right hand side. I've angle cut all of my pieces. So what you're going to need are 4 pieces that are 4 1/4 by 5.5, and on the 5.5 inch side you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then just place your adhesive. And let me get rid of this. So let me show you kind of what I'm thinking. Oops, they stuck together. So maybe do something like this. So we have these going. So let's go ahead, remove the paper backing off a little bit. Okay, and release and open. Okay, let's do the next one. So I'm going to take another piece, and this time I'm going to place it on the bottom. So let's flip this one up as a guide. And you certainly don't need to. You probably could do it all wonky just to give it kind of like a different look. Okay, and okay. So now we have, again, the opening on the side. So now we have a couple of flaps on going like that. How about if we do 2 more so we keep opening? I don't know. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that. And now I'm just going to try and line it up in the middle. All right, that looks good. Okay, open it up. And now we can go ahead and place the other one on the opposite side. So let's open these up. I thought that this side might be nice for some larger pictures. It's a great size. Let me see. The finished size is 4 1/4 by 5. So that's a nice size. All right, so let's bring up the bottom just as a gauge so we know kind of where we're supposed to place it. And I'm sorry, I know you can't see, but I need to be able to see it on my end as well. Okay, and then let's do that. Okay. Okay, so now we have our 4 flips. So let's see, like this and like this. So it almost looks like a bow. Okay, so that's that page. All right, and now for the next page, I have some side flips again. But you know what, now that I'm looking at it, since we have so much going on this page, I think I'm gonna leave this page blank. Because so far, out of 12 pages, I only have 2 pages that are completely blank. So now let's bring in the next one. Okay, so for the next page, I'm just going to do another standard pocket. Again, my opening on left and right hand side. And for this one, we're going to need a piece that's 8 1/2 by 3 1/2. And we're going to score it 1/2 inch on 3 sides. And then I just miter cut my corners and angle the tops. Okay, so I'm going to release a little bit of the bottom and just attach my side. Again, I'm going to release a little bit from the bottom and just attach my side like that. Make sure it's on there well. Now I'm going to take off all of the paper backing everywhere. Make sure my opening is on the right side, and now I will just line up the corners first. This is the best method that I have found that will make your pocket completely line up to your page. Okay, let's get rid of our garbage. And there is that page. Let's turn it over. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna leave this one blank as well. Okay, so for the last page, let's see, opening on the left, I'm bringing in 2 pieces to do side flips. So you're going to need 7 1/2 by 7, and on the 7-inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch on both. So I've already added, as you can see, my double-sided tape, and I've already angle cut my corners. Where is my finger blade? My grandson just called and he asked for Doritos. The poor thing, he's sick. So I am going to stop recording after this page so that I can bring my little munchkin some Doritos. He says he's hungry and he doesn't feel like leaving the house. So he's asked that Grammy bring him some Doritos. So whatever he wants, the poor thing, he's been fighting a cold. It's not COVID, although he has had it before. This, I guess, is just like your standard cold. I don't want to say standard because it minimizes what he's going through. In any case, so here on the side, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to go ahead and place my other one on the opposite side. So release just a little bit of the paper backing. Okay, take off the paper backing. Okay, So there is our last page, and I'm going to leave the opposite side blank. I think I may go back and do more. We're just creating on the fly. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in all of our pages. So we've completed our 6 pages full of elements. I'm going to go ahead and go to the store super quick to, like I said, bring my grandson some Doritos, and then I'll come back and we will continue on with this album.